What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yo, it's your boy Troy,
It's your boy Sean.
and we tapped in again.
We tapped in. We tapped in. We
That's it.
apologize. We had a hiatus last week, but we back at it again. We appreciate all you guys who supported us. We're gonna make it up for you this week.
No
we're gonna
doubt.
make it
No doubt.
interesting for you. Some good barbershop, beauty salon, church conversation. Whatever, however it go. That's
Man, homegrown conversation, man. That's it.
homegrown conversations,
No
real
doubt.
talk. Real men. So again, like, comment, share, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Um, wherever you are socially, that's where we at.
That's it, man.
Tap
We
in.
appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Talk to us. Listen, we here. Hey, we appreciate, man, where we're going, and we appreciate, man, your comments, your likes, your shares. Just continue, man, to grow with us.
That's for sure,
No
for
doubt.
sure. And when y'all pulling up on us, so I'm saying questions and those thoughts that you're giving us, outside of this platform, we want y'all to drop that stuff right on the platform. This is a place for conversation. So appreciate it.
No doubt, no doubt. So
So man, I know we talked about it before we came on. I was gonna ask you, did you see that game last night? But
nah, man. Look, instead of tapping in, I tapped out last
nah,
night. I was knocked out, man. I
man,
woke up, my phone was buzzing. Everybody like, yo, you see this? It must have been live, huh?
man, it was live game, man. It was everything you
Whew.
expected. And then, fourth quarter, thought the Knicks pulled away, and it was up 14 with a little over 2 minutes left,
Uh-huh.
and losing the game.
Wow.
Now losing the game, boys couldn't. The Pacers got hot from three, and that ball started rolling, and that was it. Obi Wananobi, I think that's how you say that
Right,
shit.
yeah, right.
Missed the key free throw.
Uh-huh.
Next to last possession, he had gotten fouled, missed the first one, made the second one. That put him up 2 points. Uh, Pacers had the ball. Tyrese Halliburton came down, was going to drive for the two, but Michael Bridges knocked the ball away,
Uh-huh.
and so he had to kind of gather it up. And he looked down the other end to see how much time he had, and ran back to the 3-point line, threw it up. Man, it hit the rim. It bounced over top of the shot clock.
Uh-huh.
And it was like it just hung there, came straight down through the rim.
Wow.
So they thought he threw up the.
Oh, yeah, I see that, man. I see
Yeah,
your Reggie Miller. Look,
yeah,
that
yeah.
dude in it.
Yeah, and he was commentating at the game.
Yeah, that couldn't got no better than
Yeah,
that.
but instead of three to close out the game, it was a two that tied the game,
Oh,
and so
okay.
they end up pulling away and overtime. But yeah, I mean, game as good as advertised, man.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Even with that being said, I'm still going on record from day one, man. I still like the Knicks.
He's like the
I
Knicks.
still like the Knicks, man. I'm sticking with the
Knicks
and
and
that's
what?
not my squad, huh?
The Knicks and what?
I, man, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I think it might go the whole set,
So,
but I think Knicks gonna.
I want to see how mentally they bounce back from this. Like I think they'll probably win the. I think they'll win the next game, but the next tight game, or if they up going into a couple of minutes left in the fourth quarter,
Hmm.
I want to see how much this affects that game, because it's crazy when they made their best run when Jalen Brunson went to the bench in
Hmm.
foul trouble. Like they was only up 1 or 2 points. They went on like a 14-0 run
Right.
and ran it up on 14-2. Then when he came back in, he the closer, but they just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get
Yeah.
it done
Yeah.
last night.
So you think that's gonna cause some man to be a little more timid on the defensive end, man, to try to stay in the game because he's a dog on both ends of the ball,
He
man.
is, man. I don't think it is, man, because he's such a tough defender.
Uh huh.
I don't I don't not defender. Since he's such a tough basketball player mentally,
Uh huh.
I think this makes him go to another place.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
nah, this is not gonna happen again.
Right.
Like that's what I'm thinking. He thinking. So it might even be to the detriment of the team, but he gonna have that ball in his hands.
He
He
locking it.
always do, but it's like, nah. If I got anything to do with this, yeah, we're not going there.
Okay.
We're not going
Okay. No doubt. No doubt.
there. But the young Bulls is playing tonight,
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
OKC and the Timberwolves, man. So, well, OKC up 1-0. They playing in OKC. Uh, I think this could go 7-2, man.
I don't think it could be no downside to the NBA championship this year, man, because it's all new faces, new
Yeah,
players, and it's almost like, okay, this is the future,
right.
Because you used to seeing the Stephs, you used to seeing the LeBrons, you know what I mean? So now it's like the new wave. This is like passing the torch, pretty much.
So I'm trying to think, man. Oklahoma City have not won a championship. I don't think the Timberwolves haven't won no championship.
Nah.
Uh, the Pacers, I don't know the last time they won a championship. And the Knicks haven't won a championship since the
In the
70s.
new era, right?
In the 70s.
Yeah. So it's
Pacers
all
ain't won nothing since. Pacers ain't never won no championship in my lifetime.
ain't get one with. No, no,
No,
you
they
right.
got
Yeah.
yeah, they got to the finals, but they didn't win it.
Man. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's all new. It's all new, man. Yeah. This.
somebody town city gonna turn up.
Oh yeah.
They
No
better.
doubt.
I'm telling you, the NBA better hope it's not New York.
Oh man, this New York, you already know it's gonna be lit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Lit,
for sure,
lit. Yeah,
for
no
sure, for
doubt,
sure.
man. Well, we salute all the young players, man.
Yeah,
Listen, man, it's great for their career, man. And first topic today, man. When good things happen to people, man, and you have the people that celebrate them,
hmm
and you have the people that's envious. You know
hmm
what I mean? And one of the topics tonight, man, is just about envious people, and that topic, man, stemmed from when you most of the times when you think of people that's envious, you would think that they covetous, they want something that you have, or they want to be where you're at.
hmm
But what I'm starting to notice now is there's a lot of people that's better, more well off than you, whether it be financial or in a better spot,
hmm
but they still have that envious mentality.
hmm
And I'm like, where does that stem from?
Man, I think it stems from this, man.
Oh yeah.
We got too much access to what we think is other people's lives,
Uh huh.
right? And you will naturally gravitate or hone into somebody who is strong or in an area where you weak. And it'll overshadow, sometimes that can overshadow all of the good that you do have going on in your life.
But why don't it motivate? Like I'm the type of person, I'm around my circle. If I would be honest, I'm not gonna because it's areas that I excel in, but I always aspire to be in a circle that's doing more than what I'm doing. So I can
Right.
always learn. And I don't have an envious bone in my body. Like it motivates me when I see somebody else doing good, even if
Mhm.
it's somebody on the come up doing something that I'm already doing.
Right.
I'm like, if I can give them, some guidance, if I can help. But I see a lot of people, like we talked about the other week, it's gatekeeping.
Mhm.
It's the comments, man. I mean, soon you look at something, you go into the comment section. I'm like,
It's like hate, man.
yeah, why not celebrate, man? Because we all have different journeys,
Right.
and life, we all figuring it out. Nobody has it figured out.
So, I think that's a cultural thing. You think that happens in every culture?
I do. I think we're more vocal with it, but yeah, I think it
You
does
think it does?
does happen. Yeah, I think it's envy in every culture. And I think sometimes too, I was thinking about that before we came on, and I think sometimes people envy you of the energy you carry. Because when other people esteem you highly, some people who want to be seen in that light, and it's not nothing you're doing yourself, but
hmm
because you carry yourself in a certain way, people say, I like that brother. He's a solid brother. He's a good guy. And
hmm
somebody else who want to be seen in that light, but they
They're
don't
not
display those characteristics,
right.
then they automatically envious and they don't even know
Right.
you.
Right. And that's what happens. And it's crazy because like the world is so much different than the principles that you and I believe in.
hmm
It's crazy because I took a screenshot of something actually today. Had no idea what it was for,
hmm
but The scripture was, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him a drink. For in so doing, you will heap coals of fire on his head.
It make them sick. It make them sick. Listen.
So love the haters, man. Love
Love
on
the
your
haters,
haters, man.
man. We love them, man. We love, and we don't give them attention. Like personally, man. I'm not speaking for myself, but if you're busy and you're about your purpose, you don't have time to worry about who's hating.
Right.
And if I done something wrong to you, hey, let's talk about it.
Yeah. And if I know I'm walking around in my authentic self, and I'm treating everybody the way that I would want to be treated,
Uh-huh.
and I'm being respectable, I'm honoring them, and they don't like me for whatever reason, that is not my problem.
That's on them.
It's not my problem.
Let them have it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And that's another thing I don't get is the people that give that type of energy and to a hater. Like, okay, if you're hating and you can't get past what I'm doing, if I don't need you in my journey, why am I gonna come down, stop what I'm doing to worry about your opinion of me?
yeah. I'm getting down to the level where you want me to be at.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we only matter to the people that matter
Matter to
to
us.
matter to us.
Yeah.
So and the Bible, man, since we did bring out the Bible, man, it say, man, you always supposed to esteem another man higher than you esteem yourself. I know who God created me to be.
Right.
I'm comfortable in my skin, so I don't need to say I. If somebody else want to say, oh man, your Troy's doing a great job, or you did it, that's cool. But I'd rather look at somebody else that's striving to do good and encourage them and say, hey man, I see what you're
What you
doing.
doing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you need some help, let me know.
Right. Keep going.
And that's how we build.
Keep showing us the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know, man. It is something that has certainly increased
Hmm.
in in my lifetime. You know,
Oh yeah.
and when I say my lifetime, I want to say my adulthood. You
Hmm.
know, and I really do think it comes from people not understanding the work that goes behind the product that you're seeing right now.
Right.
Right. So somebody may be seeing you in a light that maybe actually is an inspiration to them, but you're somewhere where they're working to try to be,
Hmm.
but they don't know the things that you had to go through to get there. Like your journey could have been harder than theirs.
Right.
And when they get there, they would be able to surpass you. But
Exactly.
because they so stuck at wondering why you got what you got or have done what you've done, they can't even focus on their own journey to figure out where it's going to lead them to.
Right. Or humble themselves to say, hey man, we started off together. You know, me personally, I started off, how people say you got out of the mud. Like
Hmm.
we really started off in the mud, and it's my life is a reflection of a bunch of decisions that I made.
Right.
And that's most of our lives are based off the decisions we make and the consistency.
Right.
So instead of being envious, and I'm the same way. If I see somebody that say, "Hey man, I remember when man we was living here together," and now I see them elevating, going to another spot. Instead of hating, I want to go to them and talk to them. Hey, bro, what? I said you've been busy the last few years. What have you been doing?
Right.
How have you accomplished this? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's the play.
That
That's
is
the
a
play. You
that
know
is
what
a
I
play
mean?
because what happens is instead of being envious, if you hold them in high esteem and you respect them for where they are, it allows for you to have that conversation that could actually, like for me, one of the things that I try to do in real estate is the things that it took me 5 to 10 years to learn about the business for the agents that come along, I want them to learn it in three.
Oh
So
yeah.
now where I was at 10 years into the game, you there at 3 years into the game because I want to see you win, right? I want to compress the mistakes. I want to give you the blueprint of the things that you should do on a daily basis
Hmm.
to be able to accomplish the goals that you want. But I'm gonna tell you what the stumbling blocks are going to be, and so that you can look out for them.
No doubt.
And so now I've given you the blueprint. You don't have to try to figure it out. It's nothing new under the sun, right? Business is business. You treat people the way you want to be treated. You follow these principles. You stay disciplined and consistent, and these are the things that can happen for you.
And listen, the brother's telling the truth, man. I gotta interject, man, because I always tell this story, man. But I can go back 20 years ago. I was 17, at least
Yeah,
17 years ago. I pulled up on this brother, man, and back during this time, man, in the real estate area, it wasn't a whole lot of people that looked like us doing real estate, and it was something I was aspiring to do. And I remember pulling up on you, and I said, "Hey, man, I think I want to do real estate. I've been watching." Man, the man gave me the play. He said, "Okay, go get your license, go do this, and when you do it, come back and see me." And listen, I came back and see you, and man, it got me a job. Got me with a company, man, and then not only got me with the company, was able to like just give me the game. You know what I mean?
right.
Along the way, you, Kevin, and a couple other guys, man, that was instrumental in my growth in the real estate field. But man, I mean, so I'll just say that to say that what you're saying is true.
Right.
I mean, that's how you did that for me.
Right. And again, man, it's just like if we came, it's really simple, man. If you look at what a person's doing as inspiration, it flips the whole way you view the interaction in that person,
Exactly.
right? And instead of now you're 10 years down the road and you haven't accomplished what you wanted because you didn't want to have that conversation, and open and be vulnerable, but also be humble
Hmm.
enough to be like, I know I don't know how to get to where you at. And even if it could not even be that, it could be you look at somebody's relationship.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that people are going hate on, but it's just like instead of like, yo, I bet it ain't like what they say it is. It's like, well, maybe you should spend some time to get to know them
D-
first,
That's it.
right? And sometimes what you see ain't the real, so you might be sitting being envious about somebody's relationship where it ain't what you think it is.
Man, we live in a day and time where all we do is put up the highlights.
Right,
If you see that in between, you might not even want what
right,
this Joker got going on.
right, right.
So yeah, and that's the thing though. You said a key thing about really getting to know somebody. So when you really know somebody and you consider them as a friend or you consider them as a strong acquaintance, do you feel that it's a responsibility of yours now to defend their honor when they're not in the room? Let's say if you have a good friend and you know them personally, you know their character and whatever, and you're say in a barbershop and their name come up. As a friend and as somebody that know them, do you feel like it's a responsibility for you to step in
Mhm.
and to defend their honor when they're not around?
Yeah, if they speaking on things that I know that to me I personally know not to be true.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think you step you step in to say the things that what I mean, the qualities that you see in them that are valuable to your relationship with them,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So there may be something that somebody says that very well may be true,
Hmm.
right? I'm not gonna say nothing about that.
Right. They ain't got nothing to do with me,
They don't
right?
have nothing to do with me. But
Mm.
when you say, "Oh, this guy, he's a, you know, say a scumbag, you know, landlord," you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's like, no, that's not true. I know that not to be true.
Hmm.
What I mean? I've seen this person interact. I've seen this person make sure that, what I mean, that his tenants got whatever
Hmm.
they needed. Even went above and beyond. You know what I mean? So that's not what I know. That's not the person that I know.
Right.
And unless you talking about something that happened to you firsthand, that's different. But if you talking about something that somebody else said to you, and I don't, and in that case, if you saying that this happened to you, and I'm in the presence, and I've been around this person probably more than you have,
Hmm.
and I know that's not how I see them operate on a daily basis, I'm gonna speak to that. I'm
Right.
gonna say, look, that's not the person that I know. I'm not gonna argue with you because I can't argue with what happened to you personally,
Right.
but I can defend and say, hey, look, this isn't what I know. This isn't what I've seen personally,
Hmm.
and we can agree to disagree on
Does it?
that, right?
Right.
But when you planting seeds and multiple people, it could be of one other person, right?
Hmm.
It don't got to be a room full of people. It's just like if this person's supposed to be your friend, and I think that's the other thing is we talking about somebody who is a friend.
Yeah.
You
Right.
can't do that with an acquaintance because you don't
You
really
don't
know
know
you
them
don't know
on
them
a personal
right.
level.
You don't
Right.
know them on a personal level. But for somebody I feel like is a friend, somebody who I can call and I can rely on, and they in that box in my life, I think I owe it to them to speak to the things that I know that are being said that are not true.
What do you owe it to them to tell them about that conversation? Let's say, so that's a whole different ball game too. Let's say if you heard something like that, and let's say even if you didn't get involved as a friend,
Mhm.
do you owe your friend that responsibility to go back and say, hey man, they was speaking ill of your name, or this is the conversation that I heard?
I think you gotta use discernment in that.
Hmm.
I think every conversation, some things aren't worthy of even bringing them up.
Hmm.
But if somebody is doing something that I think is like like if we having that same conversation and they keep going in and in and in and in and in, it's like like I said, I'm gonna come to the point where I'm saying I respectfully disagree with you,
Hmm.
right? That's not what I know, and I know from this conversation that this person isn't going to. They don't care nothing about how I feel. They feel so strongly that I know that the next place they go and that name come up, they're gonna do the same thing.
Right.
So in that aspect, I am going to tell my friend,
Right.
right? But if in that conversation they like, well, I don't know, maybe it's like that with other people, but that was the experience that I got, and they saying okay, and again, sometimes I don't know what you did to provoke this response. You know
Right.
what I
Right. And
mean?
it could be some truth to
Yeah,
it.
it could be
Right.
some truth to it, and so like I think it's a case to me, it's a case by case basis because and the person, the individual, right? If I chose to step up for my friend in that scenario, and I can see that this is a very contentious person, I got to use my discernment to say, okay, do I just want to stand up for my friend in this instance and let that be it,
Uh huh.
and let the people in the room know that there's another side to this person that I personally know, or do I do that and then go back to my friend and say, hey, look, this is the conversation that I had in the barbershop. Maybe you want to go have a conversation with this guy.
Right.
If it's a person that I feel like a conversation isn't gonna happen, or it can
Gonna
escalate to
need this.
another,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say no.
Right. Right.
Not gonna say
And then using wisdom too. I always think, man, that's should be only a one-off situation because if you're in a room and my name come up and you step in and say, "That's not how I know this brother," right?
no. But
It shouldn't be another time or two or three times where every time you're in the room,
we gotta have this
that
conversation.
person is comfortable
The
with
same thing.
talking about me
Right.
because now it's funny, but I'm gonna look and say, why do they feel that comfortable having a conversation? Because people know people's relationships.
Right.
They know that okay, that's his guy. That
Right.
they cool. They do business together. They friends. It's almost like some people will say and do things to provoke contention. You know what I mean? Just something where okay, I'm gonna say this because I know he's here. He's gonna go back and say this, and you know what I mean. Start a whole lot. And sometimes I think you can fuel it by giving it too much attention.
Right.
But at the same time, don't keep coming back and telling me. Once we nip it in the bud, don't keep telling me because Now I'm wondering, first of all, why do you keep going back to the same person
Right.
that, you know, what I mean, he's talking about me in that manner? And then at the same time, why are they so comfortable
We're
with,
airing that out
because
with
I'm not comfortable in a public setting talking ill of anyone.
right.
That it's just not my style.
So that makes you think with the conversation that we started off with, is there another agenda
You're right.
associated with why you trying to defamate this person's character?
Right.
Right? Is there something about his character that you actually maybe even admire a little bit? But
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
you know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? And that you're that feeling that you have, it might be, might make you feel envious, but it's actually admiration for something that this person is actually doing.
Right.
And maybe you need to look at it a little bit differently.
I'm a firm believer in having a conversation with the individual. It's not a guy, a man, or woman out here where if I feel that you wronged me or you owe me an explanation,
Mhm.
I'm confident enough in myself to come to you and say, look, we need to have this conversation.
Right.
And once you and I had the conversation, it's nothing more to talk about. I don't
Right.
need to run around to 10, 15 other people to try to get them to resolve an issue that me and you could resolve in 3 minutes just by having a conversation.
Right.
So that's the message.
It is. It is. And now in today's age, man, there's things that can happen. It don't even have to be a conversation. It could be, something that was said in a text message that the tone, I mean, you took it one way.
Hmm.
If you took the tone of the text message or the email one way, I wasn't sending it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of having the conversation, hey, bro, what do you mean by this? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, come to me.
Clarify.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, clarify. What do you mean
Hmm.
by this? I'm not sure what I mean because the tone seems. It could be the tone seems short. It seemed like you was trying to be. You know what I mean? Like slight me a little bit on it. Like
Right.
what's good there?
Right.
And a lot of times, a lot of like you just said, a lot of issues can be handled in a 3-minute conversation.
That's it. That's it. And then because our minds will allow us to go somewhere way different, man. Well, I'm gonna say this to him, but if he say this, I'm gonna say this, and we'll build a whole scenario in our head. And somebody and you call them like, oh Troy, man, I was busy that day, man. Or man, yo, I was feeling myself, man. I ain't mean it like that. And we
Right.
laugh it off, and boom, it's a
Right.
done deal.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like, and that could be the scenario. A lot of times it's really something simple. It could be somebody that you cool with, and they might have had a terrible day, and like they look like they was looking at you, but they was just looking ahead and in their
In
mind,
their own head,
and,
right?
yeah, in their own head. And it's like you go in the barbershop, yo man, I seen this joker the other day, man. He didn't even speak to me, walked right past me. You know what I mean? You know
Hmm.
this joker
He
from
acting funny now.
right, right. I'm like, yo, man, come on, they don't even sound like Troy to me, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna let that fly over like that,
Right. Yeah. 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 We can't be as sensitive, man, because if it was like, man, we said this before. Life be life, man, and
man.
life is
Do
life for everybody, man. Every day is not a super bubbly day. You know what I mean?
right,
Sometimes, man, we just don't. Especially those of us that deal with customers, and when
right,
you deal in customer service, sometimes you just want to unwind and chill. Maybe I don't want to pick up the phone, or I don't want to shoot you a text back today,
right.
but it's not personal.
It's not personal. You just happen to catch me in between my two Facebook posts,
Right.
right?
Right.
This what happened in between there. You know what I mean? Like, I had a day, man, where I got a customer. Somebody might not have been happy with me, or you know, something didn't go the way it's planned, and I'm trying to fix it. And, like that's where you call me at
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
point in time.
So we gotta learn to give people grace, man.
Yeah,
Give them grace.
for
That's
sure.
it.
I mean, and because we expect it,
We
we expect
expect grace.
service.
Yeah, I'm not always 100% myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? You might catch me on a bad day. And it's just that. It's not personal.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So I mean, yeah. Hey, if y'all watching this, man, let us know in the comments what you think. I want to know what's on your mind. But since we talking about my brothers, what's your thought on the narrative? That's out there that if you're, I mean, if you're a successful man, you can afford to buy the house, take care of, whoever you choose to marry. Um, and your wife can have the life that any woman would dream of. She don't have to work. She can just stay home, take care of the kids, help you in your career path. Are you the prize in that relationship? Are you the prize? No, not in a relationship. Are you the prize in the beginning?
Mm. I think most successful men would feel that way, but no, not necessarily. Because how many times have you been? I don't know why my mind is right there, but how many times you been to a fair or something like that, and you play a little game or something, right? We talk about prizes,
Mhm.
and at the end they give you a teddy bear or something that you don't have no interest in. If money is that female's, security is that's her prized possession, then yeah, you might be the prize. But if companionship, to have someone that's really, understanding, someone that's really going to be a great father and all that, then just having somebody that's successful financially may not even suffice as a prize,
Right.
because you're still going to be lacking on so many other fronts. I mean, we was always, from a biblical standpoint, say if a man findeth a wife,
Fine.
he
Good
findeth a
thing.
good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as you grow and get more successful, I think the motivation of having like the wife and the family, I think that is just as much as a prize, because that's what keeps you fueled and keeps you doing it. Because what else would you do it for?
Right. And I think regardless of how successful you are as a man, I don't think you really. I don't. Me. This is my personal opinion. I
Hmm.
don't think you ever feel like you're. I don't think you ever feel like you've reached that ultimate level until you have a wife that fills in the gaps.
Mm,
The gaps, and it's crazy because sometimes those gaps are things that you don't even know are your blind spots.
mm, right.
Right? You
Hmm.
think like I got the money, I got the this, I got the that, I can do this, I can do that. And it's like if you find a woman who can match you intellectually, right,
Hmm.
in conversation, but can also make you think that what you could do more,
Mm,
right?
hmm.
But also can point out, and I think he can be extremely selfish and not listen at times either,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and I really think you should probably spend a little bit more time with your mom too,
Mm, right.
right?
Right.
And so like she's filling in like the areas where those are the things that actually really matter,
And that completes you.
that
That, yeah,
completes
yeah,
you,
yeah. Right.
when it comes down to it. So it's just like you could have, to me, I still think, my opinion, no matter how successful you are, if you have the wife that compliments you, that's the true problem.
Yeah.
Because it makes life so much easier.
Hmm.
Because now not only you're focusing on the thing that you was always focusing on before,
Hmm.
but you're coming home to somebody that you can share those wins and losses with. You're coming home to somebody who you can build with. You're
Hmm.
coming home to, you know, children that love and adore you, right? Because like all of those things are characteristics of a good wife. Like you could be married to a woman, but she sows seeds of deceit into your children,
Hmm.
to where they might, you know what I mean, where it's not all flowing together, right? And
Hmm.
so I think that's why I think in the relationship, finding the right woman is key.
So is there a broad or fine line between being thinking of yourself as the prize
Mhm.
or being a simp? I mean, because it's two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely.
But I mean, a lot of guys say, "Hey, I don't need a woman for anything.
Hmm.
I've established myself in a way where I can have any woman I want.
Hmm.
I can, financially take care of multiple women if I want to.
Right.
So, how do you tell a guy like that he's not the prize, and how do you get him to say, you know what, I want to settle for this one woman
Hmm.
who we're gonna bump heads, we're gonna have some conflict. What keeps a man there?
It's weird because it's weird because with most men that you hear had this conversation, they in their prime,
Yeah.
right? They in their prime. They're making the most money. The most women want them,
Hmm.
right? They can go anywhere they want to, do anything they want to, and it's just like they don't want to sacrifice the options,
Mm.
right? They don't want to sacrifice the options.
Right.
But when we talked about earlier, then there comes a time as you get older
Hmm.
that sometimes the things that bring you the most joy is the memories that you shared with people along the way,
No doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so then when they not in their prime, maybe they need some of them pills, them blue pills,
Right.
where
Right.
they can't think it up no more. They need some extra stuff, you
Hmm.
know. Maybe
Hmm.
need two of them.
Tank. Good.
Might need two of them. It's like then when and then like the physical strength ain't like what it used to be.
Mm.
Still got the money, but now they not as attractive to the women that they attracted to.
Mm.
And now it's just like I need to find somebody who we can do this thing together. I'm gonna look out for her. She gonna look out for me. Like the whole mind starts to shift, and now you're looking for a good quality of life.
Hmm. Right.
But who's to say how much time you got left at that point in time? You could have that same quality of life. We all have to sacrifice something sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but it. You think about if you were able to do those things in your 30, and let's just say you're 40. You know,
Hmm.
you say, okay, I'm gonna start my family when I'm late 30s, late 40s, right? You still have all of that time to be able to build those memories and stuff with, and you still know that this person when you fit when you're 70, this person's not going anywhere. They got your back.
Right. Right. No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like to me, most men don't do it because they don't want to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
And what's important, like I said, what's important to them is the option and what they could get.
Mm.
But you think about I mean, when you really think about it, most of the most successful men in the world um, are married,
They had. Yo. Yeah. Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And or they were married as they were building their wealth, right?
Hmm.
They may have gotten a divorce, but then soon after, they usually end up marrying again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just think there is a there there is a secret sauce into being in a union with somebody.
But listening to society now and listening
Right.
to what everybody's saying, it would almost say make it undesirable. You know what I mean? Because they have the notion of it's a storybook type marriage. You know what I mean? That
Right.
every marriage is gonna be story. Now you're gonna go through something
Right.
with everybody. I think the importance is finding that person that's worth going through it with, but it's gonna become a time where that doesn't matter. Because you're gonna look back and say, you know what? We did this. This is what we built.
Right.
And I think that adds to purpose, you know what I mean? It adds to purpose of us being men. Because it's a lot of rich men that die lonely.
Right.
And I've seen men that had to give their inheritance to strangers.
Yep.
because they didn't build that bond with their families
Right.
over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, this is us. This is coming from, two married men.
Yeah.
So could be guys out there listening to this. Like, yeah, man, he's always
Yeah.
tripping, man. He's tripping.
Say we slipping. We out
Yeah,
here, man. Boys crazy,
you want
man.
me to give all of this away for that? Hey, it
Mm.
works.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works.
No
It
doubt.
works.
No doubt.
It works. I mean, I ain't gonna say
Go ahead,
that.
man. Go ahead. Roll with it, man.
Nah, but yeah, I mean, so like, the last thing I wanted to touch on was something that is real estate related.
Okay.
I always try to leave with a tip on this. So the question is, what happens if I'm selling my house and the appraisal comes in low?
Mm.
So we already under contract, we moving
Hmm.
towards closing, and the appraisal comes in $10,000 less than what our contract price is.
Hold on, before we start,
Mhm.
take us through the process, just briefly. But at what point does the appraisal
Happen.
happen, and when does that? Yeah, when
Uh,
does that become?
Become an issue. All
Mhm.
right. Yeah. So basically, you find the house, you write up the offer, you get under contract. Next thing that you usually get done is your inspection. So the home inspection, termite inspection, radon inspection, which is can be done in a crawl space or basement, colorless, odorless gas that can cause cancer. You negotiate all of those things out. Uh, if you come to an agreement on that, then typically the next thing that the lender does is order the appraisal.
Okay.
The appraisal is the bank's kind of insurance policy. They want to make sure that the contract price is that the house is worth the contract price. So if the appraisal goes out there, he's typically going to compare your house to three houses that have sold, two to three houses that have sold, two to three houses that um, are on the market,
Okay.
right? And they're going to come up with a value. The appraisal, which is different than when you listed your house, the appraisal is saying, the appraiser is saying that on that particular day that they did the appraisal,
Mhm.
the house is worth this much money.
Mhm.
Now, every appraiser is going to have a different number,
Right.
but you only get one appraiser on the
Ah,
property, right?
man.
So,
Right.
like if there's 100 appraisers in your county, all 100 of them will probably have a different number. It's going to be within a tight range,
Right.
maybe $1,000, $2,000, but they all going to be right in that neighborhood as far as the value.
Uh huh.
But sometimes, maybe in a hot market, houses have been selling, prices have been going up, and you price your house, you got a buyer, and they paid, you know, more than what you wanted for it. And the appraiser comes in and says, "Hey, the value on this house is $10,000 less than what you guys have it
Hmm.
under contract for."
Mhm.
As a seller, you've got a couple of options, and as a buyer, if the buyer wants the house bad enough and it's not a FHA or VA loan,
Mhm.
they could pay the difference in the actually even if it's FHA or VA. If they have enough cash to come up to cover the difference, they could put that additional amount
Right. But the
down.
bank is not going to
But
finance
the bank is not going to
over
finance over the appraised
appraisal
value,
rate. Okay.
right? So the buyer could come up with that extra $10,000. As a seller, you got two options.
Mhm.
You could either reduce the sales price to the appraised value, or you could decide not to sell
Wow. That's it.
it. One,
One or the other.
one or the other. So
Wow.
as a seller, that's typically going to be your options. Um, Depending on financing and things of that nature, like if it's a cash buyer and that's all of the cash that they had, and they have enough to be able to close on a property at the appraised value. Another thing that a seller could do is say, "Hey, look, the price is the price. If you want it, take it. If not, we'll sell it to somebody else, or we can close at this price. Let's just say it's 300,000.
Mhm.
Our contract price was 310, and we'll put a lien on the property for $10,000.
And at some point,
At some
we'll get
point, you pay me back." when you refinance or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's another kind of
Okay, that's pretty nifty.
yeah.
Yeah. So nobody loses in that
Nobody
situation.
loses in that
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, and
Well, the
especially
buyer, because you come in with negative equity
equity, right?
already.
But in a hot market, and that's the house that you want, it's just like
Yeah.
I'll take that.
If it's in the area you want and
Right.
has the amenities you want, it's
It was
worth
the one.
it.
And when a buyer does that, they know it. I mean, the appraiser just told you. You paying $10,000 more than what this house is really worth right now. But for that buyer in that scenario, they like, okay, I'm okay with that. I
Right.
don't plan on going
We
anywhere
want this
anytime.
house.
Yeah, we want this house. You know,
Okay.
so that's what we're gonna do.
No doubt. Good stuff.
So cool. So we appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. And as always,
Hey man, tap in, man.
that
Listen, go to all the different all all of the platforms, man. Look, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Man, like, share, and stay tapped in with us.
tapped in, tapped in. Hey, we'll see you next week. Peace.